First, I would like to thank Trees Foundation to organize this event, and also thanks Evelyn and Vincent to invite me to this event. And today, this is an honor to talk about my experience in back to Tibet, about teaching the biology in Tibetan language. And I know, as I'm an educator in Tibetan Tibetan language educator, so how important, effective the mother tongue education is for the Tibetan students. My talk today will be focused on my the biology teaching back to the Tibet. First, let me go over the brief history and practice Tibetan language and science in the education system in Tiara. Before 1950s, there was some public school run by Tibetan government, which are mainly located in the district country, where it mainly taught in traditional way of Tibetan language and symbol mathematics. And there were a number of private schools in Lhasa city. Monasteries were also considered as educational institutes, where monks could be where monks could have access to the study. And also 1991, 13th Dalai Lama, when he returned from India to Tibet, and then he started to establish or selected some youth Tibetan from the Norbu family to study science. In 1913, he sent the first 4 Tibetan students to England to study the military affairs and also mining, also the telegraphy and mapping. And these are the first group of the Tibetans who studied the science in abroad. And also and between the 1920s and the 1940s, the Tibetan government tried to open a few public schools in central Tibet and adopt modern education models, but these schools were forced to close because of the opposition from the monasteries. So this is before the 1950s. During the 1950s, in 1952, the PRC government opened the first primary school in Lhasa, the capital of Tibet, and the first middle school was established in Lhasa in 1956. Gradually, the PRC government also began to open more schools in the other parts of central Tibet. Although a few science classes were offered in the middle school, there were no particular textbook for these classes. It was mainly created and developed in the Tibetan language by the teachers. And at that time, the Chinese language was taught in these schools, but it was not standardized at all. For example, my parents and also my father-in-law, when they enter to the middle school, they start to learn Chinese language and from the pinyin. And between 1959 to the mid-1970s, because of the political situation had changed, Tibet had gone through a major social reform and a 10 years cultural revolution, which almost destroyed the Tibetan culture and religion. The traditional education had demolished totally, and there was not much progress on the public school which PRC government founded. However, Tibetan language maintained its own significance, for example, due to the political needs. And that time, many Chairman Mao's speech was translated into the Tibetan language, and also a lot of political slogans. Slogans are also widely used in the Tibetan community. So this is between 1959 and 1970s. And we consider that time like is the best translation of the political terminology during that time. And after 1980, under Deng Xiaoping's open door policy, the education system has basically recovered and made some progress in Tibet. But traditional part of the education had little hope. In 1987, mainly the 10th Panchen Rinpoche made an effort to recover some of the traditional education in Tibet, especially on issue of bilingual education and monastic education. It led to central government to come out a new policy which stated as implementing use of the both Tibetan language and Chinese language with a mainly focus on Tibetan language policy. In this policy, it also stated that Tibetan language as a medium language to teach other subjects. These are just before Professor Zhou he mentioned. This policy was changed since after the 10th Panchen Rinpoche passed away, 1989, and also the recently since 2005, also this policy also completely changed in TIR. Sorry. Unfortunately, this period did not last long as Panchen Rinpoche passed away in 1989. And also there's two different factors which the Professor Zhou mentioned before. One is the Panchen Lama passed away in Tibet, and the second one is because the Soviet Union's collapse. And then two factors like internal factor and external factors. Those makes those policies changed. So later in my talk, I will go over more detail of the practice of Tibetan language as a medium language to teach biology around that period. Currently, although the education system seems more standard, and it has some major problem in terms of not using Tibetan language as a medium language, and the Tibetan language taught only as a subject in TIR.